Hi everybody, this is March Let's Play 2025 week 2, and I haven't done much since the end of week 1. I did blind stitch this down. I figured out that I'm going to need that piece open and that piece open because of the plans I have for these that I want to be able to tuck under there. I did do a rough trim of this just because this piece was sticking out to there and it kept getting under and it kept getting caught in things that I was trying to stitch. So I just thought it'd be better to clip it off. And the other thing I was going to show you, because I thought I showed you last time, but I didn't because it actually got cut off at the bottom of the video. But so here's that ribbon trim I'm planning on putting on the bottom, and then I will tuck the yellow part underneath and just leave the roses. Something like that. It'll look nicer when it's actually done. But it's just so pretty, I couldn't not include it in this piece. Okay, I'm gonna go play, and I'll be back when I have some more to show you. Okay, I'm back. I've done all this, pretty much all the stitching I have for now. I still didn't do here or here because I do know what I'm going to do, but as I mentioned, I need to be able to tuck. So I did this beautiful stitch across here, and I added a Spanish knot underneath with a bit of a flower. I'm not sure where I got this booklet from. It's from the Victorian Albert Museum. I didn't buy it from there, but it's got some wonderful stitches I've not seen elsewhere. And that's what this one is here. It's called a Spanish coral. And it was a fussy stitch, and probably because I did it in pearl cotton, but it turned out beautiful. I wanted it to kind of be like a hanging floral thing. So, and then there's a Spanish knot in my free decorative stitches flyer. Yeah, I did the Spanish knot underneath. It's a fun way to add a tiny little flower with some sort of faux leaves sticking out. A French knot also does a bit of a dot for a flower, but this, I'll bring it up to the camera to show you. This has, you're wrapping the stitch underneath so that it does more of a flower. Okay, I'm also gonna stay up here for a minute and show you something else. Because I'm going to be trimming it now, different than when as I mentioned earlier, I didn't stitch right to the edge on any of them, and I saved my threads loose so that I could knot it off after I trimmed. I was nervous that if I trimmed or knotted off early and then I happened to trim a little tighter than I would think, then I would end up cutting off the stitch and cutting off the knot, and that would just give me too much fussy stuff to work with. So, but to keep the threads to the center and not accidentally cut, I just stitched them temporarily into the piece so that I knew that they weren't going to get cut off when I do eventually the trim, like here. Yeah. I added this here. I really like that. I really, really like this. It's kind of almost like a faux brick thing that I did with the blanket stitch. One long, one short, one long, one short. And I did the zigzag back stitch here, which is becoming one of my favorite stitches. I discovered it in that same booklet just recently, and yeah, I've been using it. And with this one, it's turned out very subtle, but because of what's going here, subtle works because this is going to be the star anyways. But it's a dash, a cross stitch, a dash, a cross stitch, a dash, a cross stitch. Very subtle. All right. What else did I want to share? Oh, yes. the rule I've made for myself is that I don't go out and buy things to do this. I'm working with the collection that I've collected over the last bunch of decades and letting my limitation of that, not that I'm limited, I do have a lot of trims, I'll give you that. I'm very into crazy quilting, so I've collected that kind of thing. But with what I have, so with that, I'm going to show you some things. I found in that Painted Lady video, or in that Painted Lady house that I showed you, I had some trim me things just in a little bag that I hadn't used up, and I found this green cotton that I had folded over and folded over, so it's like 1/4 of an inch, and it was left over from that quilt, and it's pretty much the perfect size once I'm trimmed to go across a whole edge. So I've changed my plan about this ribbon, and instead of, let me find the end, and instead of tucking the yellow part under, I'm going to tuck the yellow part in this trim and stitch it as the edge of it instead. So that's going to go, and it's just using a leftover I had. I love that. That's not looking completely correct, but I think you get the idea. This is going to cover up the yellow, and then it'll just be green and peach. And in that same bag, I also had grab it, the light version of this pre-cut, just the little dots. So I instantly squealed because, you know, I love using up things. So this was the perfect thing I could tuck under that fabric I had mentioned. But ultimately, I'm not going to use these as the tucking under up here, because what I also discovered is that I really like the darker version better. I really like this dark peachy one better. So I am still going to trim this one, but I'm okay with that because I have a whole little bag of this trim. So I've got lots, so I'm not losing anything by doing that. But I did think, oh, I get to use these now, but no, not this time. Okay, and what else? Oh yes, I'm not 100% sure. Actually, I'm less than 50% sure I want to use this over here after all. When I went to go fold it, I have to get an iron to it, but when I went to go fold it, too much of the light was showing here. I didn't like that. So then when I folded it even further, just so the dark green shows, it might be too skinny for my liking, but I'm going to still try it. And we'll see. We'll see. As a substitute, I found, don't mind me, all my trims are wrapped into each other and caught. Oh, okay. I found this one, which I might substitute there. Or I also have this one, which I don't quite like as much, but I like that it's a little slightly darker. So I might, it's one of those three anyways. And the reason I'm leaning more towards the peach is because I found a dark green version in my stuff. This one's still going here. I found a dark green version of that trim that I love with the points. So that I've already decided is going here. So maybe I don't need a second green one here. I might go peach, but we will see. I'm still deciding. That's part of the play and the fun. I think that's everything. Let me double check. Yeah. Yeah. At the very end of this video, I'll take a still shot of my trimmed up piece, and that's how I will end this week. All right. Thanks for watching, and I'm gonna play some more next week. I'm looking forward to the embellishing part of my my March piece.